This right here is an old video of her, and this is probably the only time she was actually talking about what she would do specifically for Black Americans.
Just this past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a celebrity, and I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is Black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket, but at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars. Yeah. But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, we argue that reparations make sense, because so many Black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right? But the fact is, like, we end up being so far behind, right? And so it's like, how do you bring forth people? Exactly. And so it's like, if you do the no tax thing for people that are already, say, struggling and aren't really paying taxes in the first place, it doesn't really, exactly.
They may want those checks like they got during COVID.
Exactly.
So she's saying that Black people who are already struggling, they're not paying a whole bunch of taxes anyway. She sounds crazy. Not pay taxes. You can't just say Black people are the only ones that don't pay taxes. It doesn't work like that.
She's supposed to be in the U.S. House of Representatives, but has no comprehension of what the Constitution she took an oath to uphold says. You can't do that. There is no way in the devil to do that. And by the way, that fits into what, if there is such a thing as white supremacy that manifests as she has been claiming, then that's their position. Because of certain status of color, you get privileges that other folk don't, and you should have them just because of your color. So why should one category of American citizen not be required to pay taxes based on their color? I resent that. That's insulting.
But is that your solution for reparations? You know, just say, you don't even say the word reparations. And you could tell this is in the beginning of her political career, because you could see the wig. She didn't get that glow up just yet. That money wasn't coming in just yet. But it's like, girl, bye.
And again, they are against Trump and for nothing. This is one of the most preposterous things I have heard an elected official say in a long time. Do you think that such a proposition would survive even one of the rinky-dink select appointees of the Obama administration? No way in the devil could you put that out. Who's going to do that? You're supposed to be in the House of Representatives. Do you expect that to get out of the House?
What?
That you say
don't pay
the
taxes?
People, because of their color, are not supposed to be taxed. Do you expect such a thing to even make it on the floor of the House, to be discussed on the floor, let alone a vote get taken on it?
Right. That's unconstitutional, because you can't do it based on race. You can't do stuff like, you can't really do anything just based on race. That's unconstitutional.
Of course you can't do it, but she doesn't seem to get it. Now, doesn't she?
She's a damn lawyer.
Yeah. So, you know, all of these bad things that get said about the public defender's office that I sometimes try to counter by saying sometimes the public defender's office is the best representation. Well, she illustrates why people have that kind of negative opinion about public defenders, because of asinine statements like this by someone who represented somebody in a serious criminal case or a minor one, which is probably her situation, because she doesn't seem to have been around long enough to get serious cases. That's why they say what they say, because the person who's defending them doesn't seem to know much about American law, because they get into this crank situation. It's embarrassing as an attorney to hear this.
So Supreme Court allows Texas to use redistricting map challenge as racial discrimination. So on Thursday of last week, The Supreme Court gave the green light to Texas efforts to be able to use the new congressional map favorable to Republicans in 2026 election, despite the lower court's ruling that the map unconstitutionally sorts voters based on race. In a brief, unsigned opinion, a majority of the court granted the state's request to pause the ruling issued earlier this month by a 3-judge district court in El Paso. That ruling had been on hold since November 21st when Justice Samuel Alito, who handles emergency appeals from Texas, temporarily stated to give the justices time to consider the state's request. Wednesday's decision extends that hold indefinitely. The court's 5-paragraph order indicated that Texas is likely to secede on the merits of its claim that the district court committed at least 2 serious errors. Moreover, it added that lower court improperly inserted itself in an active primary campaign, causing much confusion and upsetting the delicate federal-state balance in elections.
I agree with what the Supreme Court did here. That was appropriate, it was necessary, and it followed precedent. Now, this illustrates what I have been talking about. What one lower court does not mean that's going to wind up as the law for the entire country, because the U.S. Supreme Court may overturn the ruling of the lower court or of the appellate court that affirmed it. So that's what counts.
So right now, Texas currently have 38 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, 22 of which are controlled by the Republican Party. Republicans as a whole hold a much narrower majority in the House, 219 to 214 with 2 vacant seats. Now, I say all that to say, getting to her, Jasmine Crockett has officially launched her campaign for Senate out of the state of Texas today.
How about this new one they have, their new star, Crockett? How about her?
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person.
Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man.
She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
So that was her campaign.
Yes, you know what? She's run for Senate, but
she was trolling Trump. Since he likes to troll people.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd bet on the snowball staying unmelted in hell before I'd bet on her becoming senator for the state of Texas. Ain't gonna happen. But what we are gonna see is the reapportionment situation in Texas is gonna go as per the Republican majority. And we're going to see bye-bye Jasmine, because she will have no more seats she can win.
I'm going to play this clip.
Representative Jasmine Crockett launched a Senate bid after she was drawn out of her House district during the Lone Star State's redistricting push that became set in stone last week. Crockett's bid comes just hours after former Representative Colin Allred dropped out of the Democratic primary, saying that a bruising Democratic primary and runoff would hurt the party's chances to remain unified against President Donald Trump. Crockett has quickly risen to fame, serving her second term in the lower chamber, as many facets of the GOP have aimed to make her the face of the Democratic Party. The Congresswoman has had many viral moments on social media for her quick-witted comments.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
As of the end of September, Crockett had $4.6 million cash on hand, according to the Federal Election Commission.
Wrap up some.
Yeah, she's got that far left that's been raising a lot of money because they're desperately trying to promote their agenda. And it doesn't work with the American people. Meanwhile, I recognize what she is. We've got a lot of them left around. She's from Memphis, Tennessee, when it comes to her alma mater, her collegiate alma mater, Rhodes College. then she acts just like the clown show around here, where they think theft and death on the streets of Memphis is acceptable if it gives them an opportunity to attack President Trump. So that's all she's done is attack Trump. She hasn't proposed anything that is helpful to much of anybody, not even to her district. And what her district is showing is a slavish loyalty to the party of their old slave masters. And that thing with Juneteenth, where they were the last group in the country to find out that the Civil War had been won by the Union forces. So, I mean, what else is new?
So the polling, so the guy who she was going to be running up against, the other Democrat, Colin Allred or someone, he dropped out. And that's because the Democrat Party forced him to drop out. Because if he would have stayed in the race, she would not win the primary. That's not good.
Well, who is she running against in the primary? The other Democrat. How many were in the race?
Okay, so Colin Allred, he was running in the Senate race for
that's in the Democratic primary.
Right.
So
and this is him here.
The winner would be one up with the Republican
instead,
candidate
to run for a newly drawn House seat. And he joins me now from Dallas. Colin, it's always good to see you. Thanks for making time for us. Why drop out? Why not carry ahead with the Senate campaign?
Yeah, well, listen, I thought about this very deeply. And, I think there's a certain responsibility that comes with the trust that so many Texans have placed in me. And as I would go around the state, folks would tell me their story. They would open up to me in a way that, let me know that we had established a relationship and a trust that also meant that I had to make sure that I did what I thought was best for our state and for the party heading into November. And I did not think that a brutal primary with a runoff, which as you may know, Major, in Texas, that we don't get 50% or more in the primary, you have to have a runoff. That further extend the primary. I didn't think that would serve those folks who had placed their trust in me, but that what I could do is accept that they have gerrymandered our state ridiculously, that we are losing representation on the Democratic side, in the House, but that we can have a strong voice representing Dallas, going into the Congress to talk about what has to be done, both to stand up to Donald Trump and to the affordability crisis that we're facing and the corruption we're facing, but also to talk to the Democratic Party about some of the lessons that we have to learn, reconnecting with working people and not being so associated with elitism and being disconnected from folks. That to me is something we have to do as well, and that's what I want to do representing Dallas.
Is that also a signal that from your vantage point, Colin, Jasmine Crockett is a juggernaut?
Well, I don't know. I think that when you look at it, for us to have a successful Senate race where we're going to do something we haven't done in over 30 years, it can't really happen under the conditions that we're building, where we were going to just have, three, high-profile Democrats running, doing what they have to do to try and win, and then trying to come out of a runoff and then try and recollect and get ready for November. I just didn't see that as being conducive to a winning environment. But what I also thought, and I've always thought about this in terms of public service first, and Major, I think you know that about me, that I don't just run anywhere. This is the district where I was born and raised. I believe that we need to have a strong voice during this time, because this is not a normal time. This is not a normal election. This is not taking place with a normal person in the White House. This is happening in the backdrop of a situation where every single day the Constitution is being shredded by this president. And the Congress has really...
I don't have time to be listening to all that. So,
and in my opinion, and I'm a lot older than you, a lot wiser, a lot smarter, and a lot better educated, you are the party that has been trying to shred the Constitution. So, okay, fine. And
well, here's the thing.
David Crockett head over here with Malcolm X's thing about a processed head equaling a processed mind is an exemplar of what's wrong with the Democratic Party. A bunch of ideologues who do not care what happens to ordinary people if they can push the special interest that are behind them.
So Representative Jasmine Crockett, right, starts out in a challenging position to win the Senate in a U.S. seat. So Jasmine Crockett favored 33, Colin Allred 31, James Tallarico 25, Ken Paxton, he's a Republican 28, John Corner, I think he's a Republican too, 21. Wesley Hunt, he's a Republican, 18, right? So the top three here, the Democrats, and down here are the Republicans. She only got 33 favor, 40 unfavor, and that's not good. Never
Of course
heard.
it's not. She's got, like I said, I'd bet on the snowball surviving hell rather than her.
So it says here, among respondents who have heard of the candidates, James Tallarico has the widest advantage in favorability. He has 48. Colin, he dropped out. He was at 39, and Jasmine was at 40. See, the Democrat Party forced Colin to drop out because she is the favorite for the party.
Well, let me give you a translation.
One second, Judge. Let me say this. She's the favorite for the DNC, but the people of that Senate district, the people of the state of Texas, she's not the favorite. She's just the favorite for the DNC, and that's a difference.
Okay, translation. Right now, under the conditions that are operative in the United States, a Democrat is not likely to become the senator from the state of Texas. Now, a senator from the state of Texas, there are two. So he may say, rather than get broke, spend all this time running for something I don't have a chance to run, let her go try and get whipped up on, and maybe we can build some support where I get the foolish and somebody will say, oh, they jumped her because she was a black woman. No, they jumped her because she's a fool.
So
and generally, so
it says nearly 49% say they would definitely not vote for Jasmine Crockett. This is higher than any other candidate in the race. 43% say they would definitely not vote for Alfred. 40% feel similar about Tallarico. Jasmine Crockett currently trails both John Cornier. I keep thinking of John Conyers. That's not it. John Cornyn, Cornyn, I guess. 49%. 49% Cornyn to 41% Crockett. Ken Paxton, and he has a whole lot of scandal because he stole some money. He violated a whistleblower act. And he was having all types of affairs, but he's beating Jasmine Crockett right now in the polls, 50% to her 42%. It's still early, but again, I guess the Democrats have something up their sleeve to push along.
Nothing. It's just an excellent opportunity for them to vent their propaganda. And she's gone. We won't be bothered with her for a while.
Well, we don't know if she's gone yet. So
she's not going to be senator from the state of Texas.
Well, she got to get out the primaries. And
even she gets out, she won't win the main election in November next year.
Let me just play this clip. I have a couple of clips.
Well, I'm done with politics as usual. I'm done with going along to get along, and it gets us nowhere. I'm done watching rural hospitals and public schools close their doors. I'm done watching parents be afraid to send their kids to school or the mall or the movies because Republicans have flooded our streets with guns. I'm done with the senators sitting around doing nothing while Trump takes your hard-earned money, skims your Social Security, slashes Medicare, and gives tax breaks to billionaires. I'm done. I'm done watching the American dream on life support while Trump tries to pull the plug. The gloves have been off, and now I'm jumping into the ring. I'm asking for your support to be the next United States Senator from the greatest state of Texas.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett just announced that she is running for the United States Senate in the great state of Texas. And there's a lot of chatter out there about how she's going to doom the Democratic Party. And as I ponder this, I'm thinking to myself, in 36 years, a Democrat has not won the great state of Texas to go and serve in the United States Senate. So how is it that the run of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for that seat is somehow any different than the other people who have tried and failed over those 36 years? I wonder, does it have anything to do with race? We're going to tell radical truth, radical love, and radical care. So the Congresswoman has announced. And so How progressives look at her particular run is important. For those of us that believe that democracy should reign supreme, if you are a progressive, you should take it as such. That yes, she, as well as anybody else, has a right to run for this seat, period. And let the Democrats in Texas in the primary figure out which candidate they are going to advance in the general. But if people are dismissing the Congresswoman outright because of style, because of race, because of gender, the radical truth is something is wrong with you. Absolutely something is wrong with you, and you need to check yourself. Now, I'm talking to the Democrats right now. Progressives, we got to be on the democracy side of the ledger when it comes to this run. Because if we are not, then we are situating ourselves similarly to the neoliberal Democrats that we complain about, critique on a regular basis, and rightfully so. Now, this is not an endorsement of the Congresswoman, because quite frankly, I don't know where she stands on every issue. If she wants to run a very politically smart race and a morally correct race, then one of the issues she would be running on is Medicare for all. People all over the country, the majority of the American people want the federal government to play a stronger role in ensuring that they have health care. And that awakening has been bubbling up. Yes, since 2016, it is unquestionably the truth right now. And especially in the face of what is about to happen at the end of the year, going into 2026 with the Affordable Care Act. People from all political ideologies are saying that they cannot afford their health insurance. And the fact that we commodify it in the United States of America is wrong. It's wrong all day long. So I'm not sure where the Congresswoman stands on all issues. What I am saying right now is where I stand when it comes to democracy. She and anybody else has every right to run, to compete in the Democratic primary without having an extra burden of being called out differently from any other Democrat that would run for this seat. And one more time, let me remind you that this is the great state of Texas and that no Democrat has won this seat in 36 years. So this ain't had nothing to do with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. So don't bring it here. Don't bring it here. If you have a problem with her, just say you got a problem with her. But it is not, her run is not a threat to the Democratic Party itself. The Democratic Party itself, the way the leadership is comporting itself, especially nationally, that's the threat to the Democratic Party, not the faithful of the party. So I'm asking the faithful of the party, don't fall for this. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. She has every right to run. This is democracy reigning supreme.
That illustrates why I can no longer vote Democrat. The only thing they offer for Jasmine Crockett is she's black and she's female. So what? Being a fool is a status that can fall upon anyone's shoulders, whatever their ethnic group is. And sometimes it's not a question of whether someone's a fool, but how big a fool can a fool be? Next point we have here is that
Well, I want to look at her
what in the
website here.
world are you doing here? See, why are we giving this fool such great propaganda? You know, there's an old saying in politics in America, I don't care what you say about me, just make sure you say the name right and you get it spelled right. Any PR, any publicity is good publicity. So I don't like it that people have been so responsive to her by giving her all of this free airtime all across the country. You ought to do the same thing the Democrat-led communications and news media has done to everybody else. When it is not subject to approval, they don't talk about it. They just ignore it. Let's flip the script on them and ignore them. We don't need to give this clown this much publicity because she's not an intellect. She's not a scholar. She's not wise. She certainly isn't experienced in life, and she has illustrated a great deal of foolishness.
Well, here's the thing, because this is her campaign website, Jasmine for U.S. Senate. And I'm looking for an agenda and she doesn't have one. So this is the why I am running. Texas and our nation are heading in the wrong direction. Senators who didn't blink an eye as jobs were shipped overseas, unbothered as prices of gas, groceries, prescriptions skyrocket for far too long, yada, yada, yada. Okay, of course, you had to mention Donald Trump. Where is the agenda? Like, what is your agenda bullet points that you're running on as senator? You know, go to the about section. Okay. You were sworn in, you know, your little history. And this is what you got a store, join the movement, contact. Of course, you want people to donate, but this is it for her website.
Well, here's what we get out of this whole sordid mess is we get what she's against. We don't have anything she's for that is viable. What does she stand for? I mean, are we going to have a national plebiscite to determine how much face hair some male can have and still use the women's bathroom?
This is exactly why she doesn't have an agenda right now, because I'm pretty sure her agenda bullet points are going to be illegals and rainbow.
Okay, her constituency is primarily black, right? So what
Not
good?
really. No, it's not. It's not.
No, hold on. That's who she's depending on. Black folk are political power, black power, but they don't know what to do with it. She's got black power behind her. So what does she want to do? Push illegal immigrants, and the first victim in line is who? Her black constituents. They're the ones that'll suffer from the illegal immigration thing. All right. Crime. She's anti-law and order. And who are the main victims of crime where she is? Dallas. It's the black community. Crime's rampant in the black areas in Dallas. Okay. What, does she have any policy on foreign affairs? No. Does she have any military acumen? No. What does she know? She's an ideologue. So she has a whole lot she stands against, but nothing that she has that we should support her for.
So the three largest groups of her district are black at 40%, white, non-Hispanic, and two other races, including other Hispanic. So Hispanics make up 36.4%. 16.8% is foreign born as of 2023. So she has a mixture. She has black people and Hispanics. Her district also, the median property value is $240,000. The median household income is $70,000. This is not a poor black district. This is class, and now it's not a working class. This is actually middle class, and up. So again, it's not all black. It's only 40%, and then out of the 40% of the 40% of black people there, what is the percentage of people who are eligible to vote? And are they going to vote for her? Are they all Democrat? So that number shrinks when you add in all those other factors.
As I said, I'd vote on the snowball surviving hell before she does. The whole saying, what are like you have the same chance of a snowball not melting in hell.